It's Trysta Krick. Bet MGM tonight. Trysta, so sorry about the 7th pick, bro. Like so the Sacramento Kings' fortunes had to come at the expense of someone, and it came at the expense of your Portland Trail.
Hate it had to be Tryst.
I immediately thought of you guys, though. I did. It was like, of course it was Sacramento. Of course we're going to talk about it today. The thing that I'm interested in is how you guys are going to make the wrong pick. Like, is it going to be Keegan Murray or is it going to be Jaden Ivey? Because I think it'll be one of those two, and I think it will be deeply disappointing. Don't you feel like it has to be Jaden, right?
I get you're upset. I understand that you're lashing out, and that's fine. That's fine. It's okay. I understand. You can lash out. We're here. That we're your therapy. We got you.
Who do you guys want?
Well,
Kenny, go ahead.
It's two different school of thoughts here a little bit. We got the gambler, we got the conservative when we talk about basketball. That's what we're talking about. But I'm all in on Shaedon Sharpe. I said, let's go. Let's go for the gusto. Is it a sure thing? Absolutely not. Could be a bust. Could be, just an average guy. I see star potential in him. And this is a guy that we've essentially never had in this city and with this franchise. And I don't know if you really had that many opportunities to get him. I'm going for the gusto. I want Jaden.
He could be an Ant Edwards for you, right? Like a spark plug, somebody that you could. I'm talking about upside, Damian, upside.
You mentioned Anthony Edwards. That you can win me over with that because I love Anthony Edwards and everything he does for Minnesota.
Just like transforming I've been obviously reading a lot about New York baseball because of the show on Saturday. And like, there's this palpable difference in the Mets organization because of some of the guys that they've brought in, like guys like Max Scherzer, who immediately changed the tenor of things. Right. And you've got, congratulations on Mike Brown, by the way. I don't think we've talked since then. So congratulations.
Thanks, I guess. Yeah.
Is that a genuine congratulations or?
Okay. Could be worse. I think
it's a coach. You hired him. That's pretty much what it is.
Kenny Atkinson would have been a cool hire. I was thinking about him today as like the finalist for the Lakers. And I was like, wow, that would have been kind of a cool development piece. He's a guy who can straighten teams up, the young teams. But back to the culture thing. So you've got a new coach. And like you've got obviously the new manager for the Mets. He comes in and he sets the tone, kind of more old school, more instinctive. And then you bring in a guy like Max, who's just a proven winner that everyone wants to galvanize around. And like that's what Ant Edwards was for the Timberwolves. Like, don't make any mistakes, right? It's not Karl Anthony Towns. It's not D'Lo. It's Ant.
It's not Pat Bev.
It's not. I think Pat Bev is like a nice role player dog that you need on the team to pop off and irritate others. But like in terms of a tone setter, a guy who can go out and not just say a lot, but he can go out and do a lot on a given night. Like I've heard a lot of as I've gone through my travels, my basketball communication travels, I've heard good things about Shaedon Sharpe's upside. Feels like a good pick for your franchise. You know what I mean? Like, whereas I feel Keegan Murray makes no sense. Keegan Murray feels like he's a pacer to me.
Well, no sense. That's a little harsh, Tristan.
I mean,
he's a position fit. If nothing else, he's a position fit.
Sure.
But I like Jaden Ivey. He's the one I like. You talk about the risk for the gambler versus the scaredy cat. Kenny's the gambler. I'm the one who's like, I don't know, man. Jaden Ivey's a winner. His mom's at Notre Dame. He's been around the game since he was in the womb. Like, I think his mom averaged 20 minutes per game when she was about to have him. Like, he is basketball. And I heard great, you don't want too many of these guys. You need the Pat Bevs and Edwards and all those guys. He's a good kid. Like, he's a good kid who's going to bust his ass and work for this organization.
That part, he's a good kid. He is, you got to go back and watch that. And I don't like to say anything's like one game that changes, who someone is, a defining moment in college. You can overcome these things, but like St. Peter's, I think, stole part of his soul. Like that loss, if you watch, anybody who wants Jaden Ivey needs to go back and watch that game, because you're talking about a Purdue team that was considered to be very highly touted throughout preseason. They were supposed to go far pretty much since like the season preface began, like all the buzz began. It was like Purdue was a huge name, and they were very disappointing and up and down all year. And a lot of that was largely due to Jaden, right? And I think my criticism of him, or my worry, if I was you, Damian, and this is why I made fun of it, is like when the lights get bright and the pressure gets high and he gets punched in the mouth, Jaden Ivey's, and this could change, right? He could grow up. Jaden Ivey's body language is terrible. He looked like he was in tears pretty much that entire game. Like you could just see it welling like in his eyes. His shoulders were slumped. He didn't want the ball. The only time he was airballing open threes, just bad stuff. And then the only time really that he came and hit a quote unquote clutch shot was with like 8 seconds left. And it was kind of a meaningless three that sort of kind of put him back into the game. So if you look at those like kind of moments for him, I said to myself, and this was a joke, but also going to be something mean. It's like, how do I know that Jaden Ivey is the perfect fit for the Sacramento Kings? Like he'll never have any pressure. Like never. I know it's mean.
Damn it.
He'll never have to like go and be like a New York Knick, right? Like if he was a Knick, he would just absolutely just crumble. And the pedigree of his mom, like, listen, we've got kids that have parents in the NBA and they're nothing like them. The next generation is less resilient, less tough, less bootstraps. I am for you. If I was you, I would not want Jaden Ivey. And I could totally be wrong. Maybe he's the next Jaw, but I don't think he is. And from people around the league who actually play in the league, they've said like he's not really a 1 and he's not really a 2.
Yeah, and that's we were actually just talking about that a few minutes ago. That's one of my greater concerns, more than anything about the young man, is we're gonna go guard again. We're gonna go small, like a small guard again. Like that's
5 years.
That's concerning. Like if you like, you know, Shaden can do multiple things. He could play 3. He could play 2. If we're gonna go that way, like I get it. But my concern, my biggest concern with Jaden Ivey is more the position than anything else.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a package thing. Like I'm not really sure how he fits in. Defensively, he's okay. Like obviously, you need somebody to help you on the perimeter defensively. That's big. You know, you've got 2 guys that are not really interested in defense, in De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis, right? So unless they change their mentality, you got to find somebody who can fill the gaps, like get blocks, like figure out. I actually thought maybe you guys would want to trade back and get maybe multiple pieces.
Yeah, people keep saying that. I'm
not interested in trading this pick for some random for Caleb Martin. Like no.
Oh no. I meant just trade back in the draft and maybe get like trade Rashawn Holmes to and then like get 2 picks out of it or something. You know?
It's some random small forward out of Arkansas with the 17th pick. Not interested.
If Jeremy Grant, if the Pistons want to talk about Jeremy Grant, we'll listen. If they want to move up, if we could do the old 49ers Solomon Thomas thing and sell them on, no, we're really taking this guy and switch places with them, throwing Rashawn, Jeremy Grant gets involved. Like, all right.
They really thought.
I do. I think that would piss Troy Weaver off. It feels like he said in his press conference before they even got the 5th pick, wherever we pick 1 to 5, I know I'm getting my guy. I was like, oh, okay. What does that mean? Doesn't that like make you go, oh, like you seem very confident?
That's ridiculous.
Right?
That's ridiculous.
That's like a Danny Ainge, like knowing he's taking Tatum's like, you can have first pick. I don't care. Like I'm taking this Tatum kid.
He was right on that one.
Yeah.
And you brought that up though, Damon, and it just made me chuckle. They really thought John Lynch was taking Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, no, I love this kid. What do you mean? Oh, you want to trade up? Sure, we could talk about it. It's going to cost you.
They did that again this year. Remember who were they like rumored? It was like maybe it was Zach Wilson or maybe it was Mac Jones. I forget who. Well,
they did it with. They moved up to get Justin
Bears.
Trey Lance.
Oh, the Niners. No.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Niners have done that again. Like they pretend they're interested in another quarterback, and they're not really ever interesed in that.
She's saying Kyle let those Mac Jones rumors.
Yeah, you could say
Mac
was out there.
Remember, it was like there was a lot of buzz about the Niners wanting Mac Jones. He's like, yeah, we were never interested in Mac Jones.
Every NFL insider was so pissed. They were so well. My sources told me. I don't know what changed, but my sources told me. Yo, we were talking. You could hear Trysta, by the way, talk basketball on the Heat Check podcast as well as bet MGM Tonight. Who's the best player in the game right now?
I think it's
left playing.
I think it's left.
Left playing. Yeah. I'll give you a hint. His name has already come up in this conversation.
Yeah, I think it's Tatum. Yeah, I think it's Tatum left. I think, listen, it's a real close call between. It's always been, to me, for some reason, it's always been neck and neck for me with Tatum and Luka. Like it's just, I always put them together, and that's great company. Like no matter which side you're on, like their bags are deep. Jayson Tatum is on another planet right now. Speak of heat checks, like he is a heat check for him all day, every day, contested, not contested. He's shooting over you. Doesn't he look taller than 6'8"? His wingspan has got to be like 7'1" because he pulls up and his release point is so high and it's not even hitting the rim ever. And his footwork is ridiculous. Like it's just, I hate to say it, but it's like watching Jayson Tatum is like watching basketball porn. When he is in his bag, it's like as good as it gets. You want to give that to somebody to fall in love with the game. Jayson Tatum will make you fall in love with the game.
Yeah.
Jayson Tatum is basketball porn. There it is. There you have it.
Quote board, Trysta Krick says, Jayson Tatum makes her ...
Oh my. Oh my.
This is wild.
What will she say next?
Imagine if she had said the Greek freak. Imagine where that would have gone. Yeah. Goodness gracious. I think Tatum is emerging as like I asked the best player playing right now. I think Tatum is like entering that rarefied air where Giannis and Nikola Jokic and LeBron James and only a handful of players are. Yeah, I think he's entering that rarefied air as a player right now.
He's like not KD, but he's like he is like KD-esque. Like the things that he does, and he's such a good defender too.
That's the X factor right there.
He's got straps, and his attitude right now is so good. You know, he doesn't seem like the frustrations of the moment, whether it's like getting ticky-tack fouls called on him, having to sit on the bench, really bothers him as much as it has in the past. And I think it comes down to the confidence that Ime has given them. It's like when you go to a class and the teacher never gives you good grades, like they just never give you love. They're slandering you to the class. Like, by the way, Trysta, like she did on her report, like she was an idiot because she did this, this, and this. And then when like the praise comes, you're like, oh, like this praise is real. And Ime I was listening to a podcast earlier today that sort of echoed the sentiments that I had all year long, which was like, is Ime about to be a one and done coach? Because he is burying his team in public and calling out names like his name is corrupt. And like, he's just like ready, right? He's like shots fired, and it worked because he was doing it privately and publicly and letting them know like what time it was. So now that Jayson Tatum has gone through that fire in a way that he never had with Brad Stevens, who he had his entire career, sort of a testament to how good he was, that he didn't have to like, he was pretty soft with Brad. And now I feel like he's taken the dog is there. And that's something I always wondered about Jayson Tatum. Like when adversity hits, will Jayson Tatum rise to the occasion? And the answer is absolutely yes.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
by the way, Benedict Mathurin, if you want to know who I want for seventh pick.
Really?
I want Benedict Mathurin. Yeah.
To pair up with Dane.
6'6", good defender, gritty, built for the moment.
Not bad.
Has a nice tool bag. Like I'm good on Anthony Simons. I'm ready to trade him.
Well, now you need to calm down.
Okay.
Now you really need to calm down because that's my boy.
You still want Rashawn Holmes? I think you text me about Rashawn Holmes. You still want him?
Well, you're gonna have Jaden Ivey, so you have enough, right? You have enough. I want Miles Bridges. That's come up. Cody Martin has come up. I'd be fine with them.
Why don't you like Simons?
Here's the thing. Like, we need to get philosophically on the same page with this. 2 guards that don't play defense and have to share time on the court at the same time will never win you anything, like ever. And so I'm just struggling to see how it's going to work unless you say we're out on Dame. And like the last time I checked, we are still all in on Dame. So is he like a safety valve? Is he a backup plan? Is he a bridge to the future making $20 million a year? Because that's probably what he's going to command. Mm-hmm. Someone's going to offer him a lot of money. And I could see us not matching it or doing like a sign and trade or something. Because I even texted somebody within the organization, like, do Anthony Simons and Dame work together as a backcourt, considering they're both negative defenders? And they never responded to my text.
That's cold. Chauncey left Trysta on red. That's
like they left me on red. I'm like, so is that a no?
It's cold game.
Cold game. So somebody like Benedict, I think, could step in. Or, I've heard comparisons. Speaking of the Celtics, I heard comparisons, and this would just make me so happy. If AJ Griffin could turn into Jaylen Brown, he feels a little longer, like a little more stretched out than Jaylen. Like Jaylen,
a little stiffer too. He's a little stiffer.
Yeah. He's a little stiffer. But boy, is that jump shot nice, and he can defend a little bit. Talk about NBA pedigree. His dad played in the league as well, hence the J.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question, and I know you're going to keep it a stack with me, and that's what you do. And I want you to know you're not alone. All right. I'm with you when I ask you this. Yes, indeed. How much are you dreading the NBA finals going back to Golden State? Because I'm there. I can't, I'm sick. I'm sick that it's actually happening again. But you know what? It's going to happen again. And you know what? They might end up winning the whole damn thing.
You think they can beat Boston?
They can.
No.
I would pick Boston, but they can beat Boston. That's a toss-up series. And I don't even like the Celtics.
It makes me sick. And people think I dislike the Warriors. That's a lie. I like Steph. I like Clay. I really like Clay. I like Draymond. We've gone through so much together. Me and Draymond. I like Steve Kerr. I think I told you guys, I caddied for Steve Kerr before I ever got into the business at Bannon Dukes. I like the organization. I like the guys that they have, like, down the bench. I just hate the fan base that's so delusional. It's like you guys haven't been anywhere in the last 2 years, but that 2 years is like a blip. Like they've, I don't know if you guys have seen Endgame where like Thanos blips them. Those people were blipped for the last 2 years. They forgot that they'll tell you, well, Steph was out of the hand and Clay was out. So those years really don't count, that we were in the lottery and this, that, and the other. But it does count. Like you weren't invited to the bubble. You did not even get like a mail invite. and they're so certain. They're just so certain.
Yeah. I know. Now, see, the thing about it is they had all that happen. Looked like it was time to pray for their downfall, and they're back. And much like T.O. said one time, it's on fire. It's on fire.
It is. And they obviously squandered the James Wiseman pick. We know that now, right? We squandered that. But in the same breath, you get Jordan Poole, who could have been he's giving you the production of a number 2 pick. His bag, talk about a guy who's got like a very deep bag of tricks and like elite footwork and shot making and can shoot from wherever and has adopted tricks from Steph and Clay into some little cyborg baby. like of both of them, it's like makes me sick. It makes me sick, the embarrassment of riches that they had.
They got Kuminga just hanging out. They got Moses Moody, who would probably start for the Kings. That he don't even play. It's
always like, even if you talk to like the light years guys, like it's always like kind of on the knife's edge where you're like, I'm not sure if they're like, we can continue this current dynasty while trying to prevent any downturn. And so like we're getting some guys for the future who can definitely not help us in late game situations now. Like that Silicon Valley VC mindset of building a roster. Like it's always like unclear whether that's the right or wrong move. Like day to day, you're kind of like, that was definitely the wrong move. They need X, Y, or Z. You could have gotten Nick Batum and paid him more or whatever. And it's like or you needed a big like JaVale McGee. Instead, you got this. And then like somehow they prevail. Like somehow, I'm on a soapbox now. Where did Andrew Wiggins come from? Like where did this version of Andrew Wiggins emerge from? Because they're just going to trade him for something awesome this offseason.
Rashawn Holmes.
And then Andrew Wiggins will do like absolutely nothing afterwards. It's like you're just wondering. Kevon Looney, 22 rebounds in a game, 12 in one quarter. Who is you? Like, and I love Kevon Looney. Good guy, good kid.
It's unfair.
They're strong.
Chris Paul. Why? Why they hate him so much?
They hate Chris Paul and they hate Russell Westbrook, and I don't understand it at all.
And they get mad at me because I have the audacity to claim fairly that I thought was like, I don't know. I thought this was common knowledge that Steph's not a point guard.
Oh, they hate that. Oh, that it took every ounce of restraint I had to not jump in that conversation. Nothing good comes about of jumping in a Twitter conversation, but I was team Trysta in that. And I'm like, you know what? One day I'm going to talk to Bonte and I'll just tell Bonte there's no way I am jumping in this.
Bonte came at me. Like,
oh yeah. He wanted your head.
He was like, I've seen every Steph Curry dribble. And I'm like,
he essentially told you to watch more basketball.
He essentially was like, hey, stay in your lane, Christine Leahy, little Twitter troll. I know the real basketball. I texted Bill Handy. I texted Nick Nurse. I texted multiple player development people. I was going through the roster. Hey, quick basketball question for you when you get a second, because I'm being gaslit. Bonte gaslit me to the point where I had to go and like get it affirmed.
That's hilarious.
Because like truthfully, does Steph think about his teammates in terms of like, okay, the game plan's X. I gotta make sure Wiggs gets involved early. Do I need to give touches to Kevon to help him get rebounds more on the other side?
We lost an entire day on this conversation one day. And like Kenny I just said the distinction he gets is he's the greatest shooter of all time. That's the distinction Steph Curry gets. You want to place him in a position. LeBron James has twice as many assists as Steph Curry does.
People will be like, well, Steph Curry gets 4 or 5 assists. And I go, and Nikola Jokic gets 15. So, I mean, I don't know what we're doing here.
I was team Trysta. All day team Trysta.
I understand what everybody's saying. All I'm saying is if you have to put a position on him, you would put point guard.
Greatest shooter of all time.
But in this
you wouldn't call him a shooting.
In a positionalist league, you could probably, if you want to get crazy about it, you could probably say the closest thing to a point guard they have is Draymond Green. He just happens to not be bringing the ball up the court or a particularly good shooter, but a guy who's like setting the tempo, running the offense. They don't have a point guard really.
But he will tell you he's the greatest player of all time.
Draymond?
Yes, he will be the first to tell you that.
Yeah.
Draymond don't do nothing but hand off to Steph. Ain't no damn Steve Nash out there.
And I said this to whoever I was talking to. I was like, so is the mentality now in this new league, right, is like you just put the ball in your best scorer's hand as early as you can. Like they catch the out of bounds pass and they bring it up if they're able to do that. That's what they do, right? And they're like, yes. I'm like, okay, so if Steph was off ball all the time, like people would just literally shade him and try to prevent him from getting the ball. So you can't stop him from getting the ball if he gets it from the out of bounds. and he's too quick and too shifty for you to try to pick him up at half or full court all the time. He doesn't set the offense. He is the offense.
I agree.
That's Trysta Krick, Bet MGM Tonight, host of the Heat Check podcast. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Tell him in person to apologize, because it diminishes it when other Big J journalists tell you don't know what the hell you're talking about in public. I don't know.
That's why I chose.
That's why Damian didn't want to get in.
No, I ain't getting.
There's this Portland thing that's going on right now. You probably don't notice it because you don't follow them. Dwight Jaynes and Aaron Fentress, 2 Oregon, Portland journalists. They literally just go, they source off, they counter each other. Like, nope, that's not true. Nope, that actually is true. And it's like it's a bad scene. And that's what it would have become if you would have jumped in. It would have been like, actually, Bonte.
Well, actually.
According to like 17 player development head coaches and assistant coaches, the point guard position is actually diminished.
I texted Nick Nurse, and here's what he said.
Let me just send you the screenshots.
One of these days, we're gonna have this discussion. You know, when the Kings are in the Western Conference Final, I'm like, is Shaedon Sharpe really a shooting guard? He's really a small forward, to be honest. I mean, look what he does. This guy's averaging 28, but he has 9 rebounds tonight, so that makes him a small. We're gonna have this discussion.
Made the All-NBA team twice.
Made the All-NBA team twice. I thought about if they go to the finals, just showing up there and seeing what happens.
That's a good idea. It's a good idea. That's a good idea. We love you, Trysta. We went super long. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Appreciate you more than you know.